This week's episode is brought to you by Capital Financial Advisory Group for all your retirement needs.
Broadcasting from coast to coast, it's the Financial Safari with your host, Coach Pete D'Arruda. You'll hear from some of the nation's top financial professionals. So stick around and find out how to make it through the jungle of the financial world, right here on the Financial Safari.
Coming up on the Financial Safari, Parker shows that every dollar in your plan has a purpose. Then in the radio studio, don't miss out on free money. Next, Leanne shows how women can have more confidence with finances. And Marty will cover Coach Pete's famous bucketing strategy. But first, let's check in with Coach Pete and Chuck in the TV studio.
Welcome into the Financial Safari. I'm Chuck Caton along with Coach Pete D'Arruda, and he's not part of the Blue Man group here, but he's looking dapper. I don't know.
Going to blue too. We're both in blue. We didn't coordinate that much.
The blue and blue division, like they say in the National Football League, right?
I saw a Blue Man group years ago in Vegas, Chuck, and then I went back and saw them like 3 more times. They are fun to watch. They're entertaining, and it's funny. They never talk. They
it's
play
amazing.
music, and they do a lot of good choreography.
And they've got those masks over their heads and everything.
Painted. They actually paint it.
Oh, it's painted.
Maybe it is mask. I heard that myself. I just always thought they just shaved their heads and painted them blue.
Well, it's an amazing thing. It reminded me of that other. There was a song called Blue. I'm blue, da da da. Well, I won't sing that to anybody right now, but you're going to be blue if you don't do your retirement properly. Isn't that true?
Oh yeah. Now let me just say, people may be joining us for the first time. Chuck Caton, folks, 39 years broadcasting, Hall of Fame, hockey team, football. You've done it all, Chuck, in the broadcasting world. And of course, I'm Coach Pete. I've written several books, 8 books. A couple of them are bestsellers, Chuck, and a couple Emmys, a couple Tellys. I've won some awards, and I'm president of the International Association of Registered Financial Consultants. I'm a true fiduciary. I'm the chief fiduciary officer here at my company, and I'm also a retirement income certified professional. We're going to get into that today. We're talk about retirement. It's very important that you get a real retirement plan together. And so paying attention to that, looking at some aspects of a retirement plan you might not have thought about, very important, isn't it?
It is. And, Coach Pete loves to deal with analogies because I think that's the easiest way for your clients to understand the retirement world because it can be intimidating. Yeah. We've talked about the financial red zone. And now I know that analogous to a wonderful red wine that you have called Financial First Down. What is financial first down in retirement sense?
You broadcasted football.
Yes.
And I'm sure many of you watching, listening probably watch football, maybe even played football. But the most exhilarating, or one of the most exhilarating parts of a game is when your team gets a first down. Mm-hmm. Because they get to stay on the field and continue to march down the field. The first downs, one first down after another. And so I named my wine, my new wine is called First Down for a reason, because it's fun to go forward. And in the financial world, Chuck, we want to always be going forward. Terrell Davis, Hall of Fame football player for the Denver Broncos, Super Bowl MVP back in the day. I used to do a radio show with him, and he told me, Coach, my coaches back in the day said they always wanted 4 yards from me every time they handed the ball to me, because to get a first down, you have to go 10 yards. You get 4 downs to do that. So if you're getting 4 yards and every 3 downs, you're getting 4 yards each down, you get a new first down. So let's march forward with your financial and retirement plan. Always going forward, building that account value up. And then when we get to retirement, every year is a new first down. You get new money coming in. It's important.
Well, that's especially important because I've seen many 3rd and 20 situations where somebody's had to pull the ball out and throw that pass, gets 21 yards, gets the first down, and you're right. Everybody goes crazy, and they're happy about it, and so are retirees when they're happy, when they have that financial fill-up, that income protection, a growth that you talk about so often.
But you don't want to lose yardage. You don't want to lose money,
right,
especially when you're getting close to the financial red zone, which is age 52 and above. You need to have less money in red accounts, more money in green accounts, and always have some money sprinkled in the yellow. Now, red is risk. That's the high potential horsepower kind of accounts, the managed accounts, the mutual funds, the stocks, bonds, mutual funds, the real estate, all those things that you hear about on TV where they're featuring the people that have done real well. But always remember, when you flip a coin, Chuck, if it's not a 2-headed coin, there's another side to the story.
That's right.
And many times we don't hear about that. There's a company called Dry Ships, DRYS. Been researching them because over the years, people have come in and said they fell for the story. It has had 8 reverse splits from 2016 to 2017. One of the reverse splits was 25-1. That means they took 25 of your shares and gave you one back.
Oh.
Every time they did a reverse split, they would issue more shares into that and then do another reverse split. So if you had $100 million in February 2016, and you had that all in that company, which would be crazy, and you would have talked to me, I would have said, diversification you need. But if you had $100 million in that account in February of 2016, guess what it would be worth today?
Oh, a dime?
8 cents.
Oh,
you know, because
close.
I told you already, Chuck.
I cheater.
Most people say 50 million and 80 million. 8 cents. Actually 8.5, 8.5 cents. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that happens every day with people in their red account. So the reason why we talk about this, the reason why we say it's very important to understand the financial world and how you transition a financial plan into a retirement plan is because if you would have taken that $100 million and put it in a true retirement account, a retirement TSA, total security account, you'd at least have that $100 million still there, and you'd have growth, and now you'd have lifetime income. So the moral of this story is get a real plan. Get a retirement plan. Deal with a fiduciary team that knows how to put together a true plan that won't put you at risk or peril when you need the money the most. The next 20 people who call, we're going to build that for you at no cost or obligation. You must have at least $200,000 to get started, Chuck. We have to start with something. But if you have that, and our strategies do work best for those of you with over $1 million saved, but as long as you have $200,000, let's say you make it $100,000. We can work with $100,000 to get you started in the right direction sooner in life. The next 20 people that call will do that for no cost or obligation for you.
And all you have to do is call 888-910-8265. That's 910-8265. Put the 888 in front of it, or even better yet, text BREEZE to 21,000. That's BREEZE to 21,000. We'll be back with more on Financial Safari. More goodies coming up next.
The biggest question I get every day is when should I collect my Social Security? And the answer is not so simple. It's a very complicated process with a lot of mitigating factors that we really need to take a good, strong look at and consider everything in your life. So if you've been managing your own retirement plan by yourself and you're realizing that there are a lot of issues out there like Social Security that you haven't even addressed, then you need to give us a call right now and we'll be happy to put together a one-page plan just for you.
Call 888-910-8265, 888-910-8265, or text BREEZE to 21,000. That's BREEZE to 21,000.
And time once again for Planning with Parker. Hey, Parker, how are you?
That works pretty well. I love the alliteration on that.
Sure, it's fun, isn't it? It really is. So we're talking about, setting up a retirement and income plan, how important that is. And one of the things that you've said in the past is that with a plan, pretty much every dollar has a purpose.
Yep. And that's what a lot of people forget is that every dollar you have saved for retirement should be working in your advantage 100% of the time. And not enough people understand. I feel like when people come in, they already have a plan or plans in place. I'm not blaming that advisor. I'm just saying, I feel like not too many people are scared to ask exactly what something's doing. I mean, I go in for surgery or sick or medication, whatever it is. I don't know exactly why or how it works, but if I have a question, I'm going to ask. And a lot of people, I kind of feel like financial doctors sometimes is they're scared to ask because they don't want to know the answer. Because they think if something might be not what's best, they might be scared just to admit that they don't know exactly what it's doing. Or other times of it too, they just don't ask, don't tell about how they're paid, how their advisor's working, what the product or vehicle is they're in, because they just trust them. But the concern is with that, and trust is key, but you need to know what's happening for you. You need to know exactly what the purpose is for every piece of your plan.
And again, watching those grow and whether you've got a big balance in your 401k, that's a great thing.
Yep.
But you're going to help us get through that lump sum time bomb.
Correct. And need to understand exactly, kind of like you just mentioned, everything can be working great, but it's not going to be that way forever. And so you need to know, based on tax changes, government, market, economy, all the moving parts, how those shifts can affect your plan, and if your plan is prepared for it. And like you said, a lump sum time on, we all save, we all set and forget, we throw it in the 401k, 403b, but when it's time to pay yourself, bills and taxes don't stop. Paychecks do. You need to go from that growth to growth and income.
I like that. Taxes don't stop.
Yeah, they never do. A lot of people forget you put money away for years and all of a sudden you pull it back out. You have to pay Uncle Sam.
Well, that's the beauty of a 401k on one side. I mean, it's kind of a good news.
It is.
You know, I mean, ultimately, that's the creative part of Capital Financial is you end up allowing us and taking advantage of that 401k with the taxes.
Exactly, and you need to know exactly what your income's going to be after taxes.
Well, that's it for Planning with Parker today. Be sure and stay tuned because we've got lots more Financial Safari just ahead.
You're robbing yourself if you're not putting money into a 401k, number one, at all. But number two, big two, with a big star next to it, with the little gold star the teacher used to do in third grade when you did good on the paper there.
Yeah.
If you are getting a match and you're not participating in it, you are really killing yourself.
Yeah.
You're killing yourself.
Yeah, no, it's true. I used to have an uncle that would always love to give me $1 whenever I would go visit him. And I always felt bad about it. I was like, no, keep it. I'm fine. This is when I was 7, 9 years old. My dad said, never turn away free money. That's a Butterfinger. That's a Mountain Dew right there, son. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I learned that. That stuck with me.
Even if you go to the bank and put $1 and they would credit your account $2, how many dollars would you put in?
Oh, as many as I could.
Stop coming in. They had to call an armed guard to keep you from coming in.
Right, exactly right. Well, I've said this before, but my nephew runs about 3 different independent pizza places.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Offers a 3% match. You heard it, 3% match, and he has got a handful of people. He's got a guy that he wants to take over and actually had to sit down with him and explain to him why it was so important for him to put money into that retirement.
Wow.
And I understand.
Now, I understand the concept where you say, I can't afford to, but if you take a little bit out, it's designed through the paycheck, so it's coming out before you see it. And there's an old saying, and back in 1992, when I started in the financial industry, I worked with teachers, and I showed them how to save with a pre-tax dollar. They had no match, but I showed them how they could save with a pre-tax dollar and have it come out before tax and go into their account, and then they would get a paycheck with a lesser amount because they've paid themselves first. And most of them would call me every year and say they want to increase it because they didn't feel the pain that they thought they were going to feel.
Wow.
Because if you're saving $1 in a 401k, it really only costs you out of pocket about 75 cents or less. Because of the tax aspect.
Yeah, that's something that shocked me when we first talked about that. I've been with you a couple years now, Coach, and when I first heard that you're technically putting in what would feel like 75 cents for the dollar, and then someone could potentially match on top of that is huge.
Well, if you could buy $1 for 75 cents, how many dollars would you want to buy?
Every dollar I could.
And then if you throw a match.
Want to hear more? Head on over to financialsafari.tv or follow the Financial Safari on your favorite podcast app for new shows every week. There's a lot to know when planning for retirement, and our team of advisors from around the country can help guide you so that you can be prepared, not surprised. Call 888-910-8265 today to schedule an appointment, where you'll receive a copy of the book 7 Baby Steps to a Ridiculously Reliable Retirement Income, written by Coach Pete DeRuta. Again, that's 888-910-8265.
We're back on Women and Money. I'm Chuck Caton, and this segment is completely devoted to the fair sex, and we have income planning analyst Leanne DiMartino from Capital Financial. And as we say the fairer sex, is it fair to say that most women who want to get involved in terms of their finances, whether they be married or single, have the confidence to do such thing and the competence to do such thing? It would seem to me that if you are not used to running the finances or being even aware of your family finances, that there might be a confidence problem as well as a competence problem, if you can explain.
For a lot of women, finances are intimidating. They don't feel like they know enough about investing or the financial world, so therefore they don't have the confidence to do it. And that's exactly what we are here for. We want to give you that confidence and help you plan and help educate you.
Well, and you really come from a source where you had to do that yourself. You might explain a little bit.
Yes, after coming out of a divorce, I had been somewhat involved in the finances, but when someone looks at you and says, look, I'll handle that part, you might want to say, go for it, because you've got so many other things going. So yes, after that, coming out of the other side of a divorce, had to re-educate myself.
All right, let's talk about the average client you come and see, and you could put them at ease about it. Are there questions you ask them to be able to derive whether they are confident enough to handle that situation, and also read their competence level when it comes to their own retirement planning?
They usually kind of give themselves away on that. They'll say, I'm not comfortable with this. That's why I'm here. I don't feel educated enough. So that's where we kind of put them at ease, by meeting with them, asking questions, and finding out what those needs are.
Well, that's a tremendous asset to have, is that ability from your own personal experience, because I'm sure it puts women at ease when they talk to you.
Mm-hmm. It does. I mean, just an appointment I had yesterday, this lady overly thanked me many times because she was not comfortable with what was going on with her finances at all. And
that's why you should be visiting with Leanne DiMartino here at Capital Financial, because every situation is different as well. And there's different levels to which women want to get involved with their family finances. They may say, okay, show me the numbers, but you actually can delve deeper into what those numbers mean, right?
Correct.
And we have a way for you to be able to visit with Leanne, and that is to come up with our complimentary financial conversation. And that conversation will entail what?
We go through a whole series of questions. Like I said, we delve in and try to find out what their needs are, and then also just kind of give them an analysis on their overall portfolio.
And remember, this is complimentary, no cost, no obligation, but the expertise of Leanne DiMartino here will be able to aid and abet your situation the best that we can. And that's from Capital Financial, and this is Women and Money, and I'm Chuck Caton, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
Take advantage of meeting with a professional who will create a one-page financial review that will indicate if you're in need of a full-blown financial plan. Take the mystery out of financial planning by mapping out where you are now. Call 888-910-8265, 888-910-8265, or text BREEZE to 21,000. That's BREEZE to 21,000.
We're back on the Financial Safari. I'm Chuck Caton, and it's now our segment, Money with Marty Hensley of Capital Financial. And we really look around our viewing area, and you see traffic lights everywhere at every intersection. You see the red light, the yellow light, the green light. Well, we can translate, I think, that, Marty, to retirement planning as well. Now, what are we talking about when we have the red, yellow, and green buckets of financial retirement planning?
That's a great question, Chuck. Here at Capital Financial, we have what's called our bucketing strategy. You've heard us talk about that many times. Our bucketing strategy is our approach in how someone is at or approaching retirement, how they should mitigate as much risk as they possibly can when they're going into retirement. And the word bucketing strategy, right, that has been used for hundreds of years. And we're talking about, because it can be short-term money, intermediate-term money, long-term money. It can mean a whole lot of different things, that bucketing strategy. For us, it's very clear. We have our yellow bucket, we have our red bucket, and we have our green bucket. Our yellow bucket is simply our bank money. That's our checking, savings, CDs, things that are typically FDIC insured. They're 100% liquid. I can get to it any time that I want. The money that's in the yellow is money that needs to be liquid. That's to pay my monthly expenses, my monthly bills. And we want to have a little bit extra in case I have a hole in the roof or my water heater goes out or something.
Any kind of an emergency situation.
Exactly. Yeah. And so typically we tell folks that the money is in the yellow bucket. We would want to have about 3 to 6 months living expenses in the yellow bucket for maybe that emergency that happens from time to time, or maybe a set of car tires, or whatever it may be, but it's FDIC insured and it's liquid. Then we go over to our red bucket. Our red bucket is risk. That is what one would typically think about as in a brokerage account. Those are your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETF or exchange traded funds, variable annuities, precious metals, and things like that. The red bucket is anything that's at risk. If it can lose money, we will put it into the red bucket.
And it probably will in most cases.
At some point, if we have money in the red bucket long enough, it will lose money at some point. That's just the reality of the situation. And then we have our green bucket. Coach Pete calls it our personal pension bucket. Less than 7% of Americans have a personal pension, Chuck.
No, I'm not surprised by that because that has gone the way of the mongoose.
Absolutely. So that means 93% of us do not have a pension. So with Capital Financial, we say if we don't have a pension, let's create one. The personal pension or the green bucket, that money is the principal is insured and guaranteed against any risk. That is money that is our safe money. So we borrow this from Mr. Dave Ramsey. We have what's called the rule of 100. We will take 100 minus your age, and that's the maximum amount that we have at risk. So if you're 60 years old, let's say you've saved $1 million in your retirement account, you would have 40% or $400,000 of your money at risk, and you would have $600,000 protected against any loss. And then you would use the combination of those two. And what we have found is that relies on us to have a safe, reliable, predictable income in retirement where we are mitigating as much risk as we possibly can, where you have that happy retirement and you're not worried about the fluctuations in the stock market.
All right, that's Bucketing Strategy 101 from the man, Marty Hensley. This has been Money with Marty here at Financial Safari. I'm Chuck Caton.
Hi, my name is Greg, and I proudly serve the Wilmington community for Capital Financial. If you are finding yourself in that financial red zone, and if you don't know what your retirement plan looks like, then you need to give us a call right now.
Call 888-910-8265, 888-910-8265, or text BREEZE to 21,000. That's BREEZE to 21,000.
We're back here on the Financial Safari along with Coach Pete. I'm Chuck Caton. It's been another fast-moving show, Coach. It always is.
You know, it's fun to watch and listen for us too. I mean, it's just a fast-moving world, Chuck. And if you take too many breaks or aren't paying attention, you could get left behind or not really know where you are. And it's important just to pay attention these days and get a planning team that's paying attention for you.
Absolutely. Now, you like sports analogies. I think and we've talked about the fact you like travel analogies too when we talk about retirement. But I heard a little birdie told me that you're taking pilot lessons.
Took my first lesson a couple weeks ago and then took another one after that. And Chuck actually took a plane. I took off the plane. I made it go in the air. It's kind of
was that intimidating for you?
It was. It was in Vegas at the North Vegas airport. And I want you, now I've already told you this too, so Chuck's going to act like, maybe he'll act like he doesn't know this time, but how fast was I going to get the plane off the air, or into the air, off the ground?
How fast were you going?
Well, we taxied down the runway. How fast do you think we had to go before the plane went off the ground?
If it's a small plane, it doesn't need 150 miles an hour like a jet does.
When you're on those jets, you're trucking down that runway, aren't you?
I'm going to guess, and really, because he accused me of cheating before on that 8 cents thing there, I'm going to guess, a blind guess, you have to go 75 miles an hour or 80 miles
52.
Oh, wow. See, there you go.
So the instructor said about 50, said time to start pulling up. So I pulled it up, and here we went. It's amazing how to... I was going slower in the plane than I go in my car, usually.
Hey, wait a minute. I've seen this guy drive. He's 52. He's got a hydroplaning there.
But it was amazing to get up. It was just a little Piper plane. But, I mean, still, you're in the air like that. And it was a 4-seater. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing when you think about it. The plane doesn't go that fast once you get in the air either. But you're going over the traffic. So you don't have to worry about the traffic.
Absolutely.
And so it was amazing. I don't know if I'm going to continue to fly, though, because I kind of like my life, and you never know what can happen in a small plane. You hear about the small planes crashing a lot more than the big planes crashing, put it that way.
And that brings us to a point, and I know you and I have talked about this, and here's another way we can apply it to retirement planning. When you get into that big bird, you want to make sure that you've got a 100% chance of reaching your destination, right?
Yes.
Not a 90% chance, not a 95% chance, but many times you'll talk to people who call themselves financial advisors, they're brokers, and they are not true fiduciaries who have your best interest in mind, and you can't have a retirement plan that is anything less than 100% secure.
Well, you can, but you shouldn't.
No.
You know, it's just like getting on a plane, a big plane, and the captain comes on the loudspeaker and says, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be going from Boston to L.A. today, and we have about a 90% chance of not running out of fuel.
Well,
what am I going to do? I'm pulling that slide, and I'm sliding right down like that Southwest pilot did it years ago. He took a six-pack with him. Remember that? He left the plane. That's right. But I mean, Chuck, think about this. There's a lot of folks that are watching, listening to us, who don't have an 100% plan right now. Mm-hmm. Is your plan a true 100% certainty plan? How do you know? Are you sure? Have you had it reviewed? We have a free second opinion service to make sure that you are in the right place. Chuck, the worst thing that can happen if we meet with somebody who's watching, listening, and they come in and they do a review, the worst thing that's going to happen is we tell you that it's just not quite as good as it could be. Let's have a rework. Mm-hmm. The best thing that happens is we say, hey, the plan you have is fine. Here's the stamp of approval. And we do that. And it's great to know that you have a team, whoever it is now, that's doing what they were supposed to do. But Chuck, the other side of the coin, unfortunately, many people don't have the right plan. They don't have the right planner. They have someone who sold them products, and they've never heard from the person again. Folks, you should be doing annual reviews at least with your planning teams and making sure that what they told you years ago or yesterday or centuries ago is still working. And if you have a true retirement plan, it doesn't matter how old you get, the income goes forever. And it doesn't matter if the market goes down, your money doesn't go down if you have it in the right places. Now, there are some accounts that'll go up and down. Those are the risk accounts. Those are the Wall Street accounts. Those are the red accounts, we call them. You can get a lot of gain, but you get a lot of loss. As we get closer to retirement, age 52 and above, we need to narrow that gap down. We need to have less money in the risk accounts and more money in the green accounts that build every year. It's that line in the sand. You build it, they put a line in the sand, you're never going backwards again. Doesn't matter what happens in the market. The next year, you build an income, you build some more money, it's not going backwards. And then when you choose in the future, you flip a switch and you get a financial fill-up strategy. That's a check delivered to your mailbox each and every year for the rest of your life and the rest of your spouse's life. No games and gimmicks or anything happening. And then, Chuck, another thing is people say, well, what if I die too soon? What if we both die? Well, whatever the balance is in there goes on to your next of kin. Doesn't disappear. That's what used to happen with some retirement plans. If you died, the company kept it.
Yeah.
And that's not fair, and it's still out there, but we don't offer anything like that because we're fiduciaries. We have to do what's best for you, not what's best for us. If you do well, we're going to do well too because you're going to tell everybody about how good you're doing, and they're going to become clients of ours too. But everyone needs to be in a place that takes that worry out of living in retirement. If you're curious about what your plan is now, if you don't have a plan, or if you want a review, for the next 20 people who call, Chuck, we're going to do this at no cost or obligation. We've seen others charge over $1,000 for a plan just like this. We're going to waive those fees and make sure that you are in the right place where you deserve to be in.
And all you have to do is call 888-910-8265. That's 888-910-8265, or text BREEZE to 21,000. That's BREEZE to 21,000. Another fast-moving show here on the Financial Safari. For Coach Pete, I'm Chuck Caton. We'll see you next week.
Have a good week, everybody.